हरे कृष्ण ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So after such a heavy class, we'll come to something very simple. Krishna actually want to make us happy, and he's making all arrangements. Two things he's telling. If you remember Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, first section, he says that because we identify ourselves with body, that is the cause. First thing is cause of lamentation, and then there is fear. So if some of my relatives or friends, if I lose them, I lament because I forget the identity of the soul. I think they are the body. And then because I think they are the body, and then things I am losing around me, that causes fear. So lamentation and fear is what Krishna wants us to make us free from, the knowledge he is giving. Unfortunately, what happens is we are so much caught up with lamentation and fear only. All our activities are motivated by these things. That means that is the cause, the main cause is ignorance. So all this knowledge which we are working on help us to overcome this lamentation and fear. These two things are what is holding us. And Krishna is trying to help us out of it. He's very compassionate. And is the problems which we are thinking, they are not real also. But somehow we so much identify and we cry for it. And then we have complaints on Krishna. Why is not helping me? Krishna is telling, I am helping you, but I am giving you a real solution. Arjuna had to go through all the things. He has to see his grandfather die, he has to see his guru die, he has to go through his son dying. Everything happened. Whatever Arjuna thought, whatever Arjuna predicted in the first chapter, everything happened only. It didn't that Krishna did not change situation for Arjuna. He only elevated him in his consciousness. So when we say that Krishna is not helping, Krishna helps. But his help is to elevate our consciousness, not to change the situation. And this all these pastimes and all are to help us. And here Dhruv Maharaj, we see how he got elevated in his consciousness. And because of which he is not feeling any bad for his stepmother. Now it's a such a very painful situation for a boy that if somebody is telling you go and die and then you be born again, it's a very painful situation. But Dhruva could transcend it. That's how we have to work on. So Krishna's way of helping is to help us transcend, not just some stopgap solution. And here we can clearly see how it's such a hard work actually. It's not something very simple. We really have to work hard in our sadhana. We have to work hard with our understanding of philosophy. It will not happen overnight. It's really very tough job. And whoever is willing to pay the price, they are going to get that fruit. At the end of life, we will be free from all these things. We have to transcend. And now we are like dipping onto some dresses. Like what there are 84 lakh species. So many species are gone from our case. But there's still some more bodies that are remaining. So we should not be so much affected by what is happening that Maya should not have an option. Arey, you don't need a body now. He's transcended body. So Maya should not have options of giving which body I can give to this living entity. So Maya don't have any body to give us, then we get a spiritual body. But now because we are so much attached to these things, Maya still have options. Okay, you are fit for this body, take another body, take another body. We should not give option to Maya. Here, what is the hard work Dhruva did? That is fortunate. He is actually Kripa Siddhi for him. He could immediately transcend by Narada Muni's mercy, and Lord also reciprocated. And 6 months now is actually very good time. Even now, if you all can want, you want to check on Lord, whether Lord will reciprocate or not. Give him 6 months time. And you do very, very seriously the 6 months time. Immediately you can see result. It is not only for Dhruv Maharaj, it can be applicable for us also. You very strictly do for 6 months and immediately Lord reciprocates. Lord does not wait long. He's ready, but he wants to see us sincere. So you all can try the 6 months exercise with the Lord. Dhruva did, we also can do. And here, this is a very nice way. The reunion with Dhruv Maharaj fulfilled King Uttanapada's long cherished desire, and for this reason, he smelled Dhruva's head again and again, bathed him with torrents of very cold tears. And when Dhruva, the foremost of all nobles, first of all offered his obeisances at the feet of his father and was honored by his father with various questions, he then bowed his head to the feet of his two mothers. So Prabhupada is very clearly telling, duality due to animosity is a creation of this material world. There is no such thing in the spiritual world, which is uh, no such thing in this spiritual world, which is absolute reality. So material achievement, na, we show off. When spiritually we achieve, we become humble. We understand, oh, it's just lots. So Roji was also telling these things. The show off mentality. I know nowadays this reality shows, na, they are spoiling people's consciousness so badly, so badly. Actually, they so much allied when they are praised, and they feel so proud, and then they feel excited when all this glorification is coming. That is completely against spiritual advancement. It is completely against. If somebody want to make spiritual advancement, they should keep away from this reality shows, far, far away. If you touch this reality shows, because na, it is completely emotional thing, and emotions are actually, we have to control emotions. That's what Krishna says. Matra sparshasthu konte Sita Ushna Sukha Dukkada, no, Raga Dvesha, all these things, na, emotional part, Sukha Dukkha, no, all these things are should be, we should not get so much excited about it. It's actually completely bogus. It's increasing their false ego, and it's a disaster for their spiritual life. They may be getting some praise, India got talent, America got talent, this talent, that talent, so many reality shows, na, it is completely damaging their ego. Their false ego is boosting like anything, and it's a disaster for their spiritual advancement. Very unfortunate, actually. They don't even know it how they are getting damaged. And now here we are hearing, and Dhruva Maharaj, he achieved so much, and instead of getting excited and all, you see how humbly is coming and going down, and even to his stepmother who insulted him. The pure devotee is noblest of all, and he has no feeling of animosity towards anyone. So this is actually what we should come. More we are becoming closer to Krishna, more our heart becomes the. I told you the filters will not be there anymore. Filters are holding all the kachada and all the dust is holding into these filters. The filter should go away. So nothing holds. Everything goes away, and our heart is very free. And now heart is holding on to all these so many, grudges. I can still remember some of the insults that happened to me. And it is not actually good for my consciousness, but somehow it does not go only so fast. It is unfortunate. Today only I was chanting, and I suddenly remembered, Array, this happened to me. So much injustice happened to me. No, it's actually wrong for my consciousness. And even praise is also more dangerous sometimes. Uh, so Suruchi, the younger mother of Dhrumara, seeing that the innocent boy had fallen at her feet, immediately picked him up, embraced him with her hands, and with tears of feeling, she blessed him with the words, "My dear boy, long may you live." So this is how the heart also changed of even Suruchi's heart changed. This is actually, now she is not feeling envious of Dhruva anymore. This is the very important thing, that Surich is not envious. Why? Because Dhruva's heart don't have any malice. So dhira dhira janapriyo. So if you are so nice, even people who are envious, they may also feel nice. Of course, there are still envious people who will become, but if a person is normal, Surinchi is not a very demonic person. She had some negative feelings, she had some negative qualities, but immediately that could be rectified when she came in contact with Dhruv Maharaj after he became a great devotee. So this is the advantage. And we that's why we are told that we should associate with great Vaishnavas. This is the main reason for it. As soon as we enter into their vicinity, immediately our heart and consciousness immediately start vibrating with their consciousness. We also feel very light, and no, all our envy and all these things they subdue. This is very important that we get association of such Vaishnavas, be in their vicinity. Like today's class, what Balram Shakti Prabhu, he is speaking. He has such great realization on it. When he was speaking, I was feeling so happy and satisfied. It was such a super class. Even the point was simple because Prabhuji is practicing. He can speak on it and it made a difference. At least for some time it will remain. So it was such a today's class was one of the best classes I felt. And now proper further research method on to one who has transcendental qualities due to friendly behavior with supreme personality of God and all living entities offers honor. Just as water automatically flows down by nature. Yasya prasanno bhagavan gunair maitradibhir harihi. Tama tasmai namanti bhutani nimnam apa iva swayam. So this is how everybody is affected. So here Dhruva changed the heart of changed heart of Suruchi. Actually, very important. We should bring the best out of other person, not the worst. If Dhruva comes and says, "Okay, now see what did I do? You are telling me, Supreme Lord, I made it." Now what happens? Suruchi will become more envious. But Dhruva did not do. He could bring out best of her. She started blessing him. This is actually what makes how much we are a devotee. So if my behavior with my family members, my relatives, friend is bringing best out of them, then my action is right or wrong is based on that. You say, Prabhuji, I spoke truth only. My family members are not listening. My relatives are not listening. They are becoming envious. They are becoming antagonistic. That means the way we are behaving is wrong. That is not correct. You behave in such a way that they become closer to Krishna, or even at least they appreciate. So that is the criteria for our behavior. We may have to sometimes socialize with them and do something favorable so that they appreciate Krishna consciousness. And here Dhruva is doing the same thing. He can, if somebody want to make their family devotees, Dhruva's example is best. He went and bowed out to them. Immediately it changed their heart. So the question may be raised in this connection. Why Suruchi, who was not at all favorably disposed to Dhruva, blessed him, long may you live, which means that she also desired good fortune for him. The answer is given in this verse. Since Dhruva Maharaj was blessed by the Lord due to his transcendental qualities, everyone was bound to offer him all respects and benedictions. Is Lord best? Everybody is blessing. Was blessed by due to his transcendental qualities, everyone bound to offer him all respects and benedictions, just as water by its nature flows down. A devotee of the Lord does not demand respect from anyone, but wherever he goes, he is honored by everyone throughout the whole world with all respects. Srinivas Acharya said that the six Goswamis were respected throughout the entire universe because a devotee, having pleased the Supreme Lord, the source of all emanations, automatically please everyone, and thus everyone offers him respects. And Madhavendra Puri didn't want respect, he was running away. Respect was going before him. And the two brothers, Uttama and Dhruva, also exchanged their tears. They were overwhelmed by ecstasy of love and affection. And when they embraced one another, the hair on their body stood up. So this is brothers also have great love. So Dhruva Maharaj could touch the heart. Now he is not envious. So immediately it makes a difference. They can show real love. And it's such a nice, pleasing experience to meet somebody who is not envious of you. Suniti, the real mother of Dhruva, embraced the tender boy of her body of her son, who was dearer to her than her own life, and thus forgot all material grief, for she was very pleased. So she gave nice advice because she told him not to be envious. That's why she was successful. This is actually what the mother should do. Should teach. That's why take responsibility of the people who are under you. Don't become a mother, father, guru, and all. One thing is, this is what they have to teach. Teach by their example that I am not envious, you should not be envious. And Suniti, she was not envious. That's why she took Suruchi with her in the palanquin. And she told the same thing to the son. My dear Vidra, Suniti was the mother of a great hero. Her tears, together with the milk flowing her breast, wet the whole body of Dhruv Maharaj. This was a great auspicious sign. Prabhupada's writing, very nice. When deities are installed, they are washed with milk, yogurt, and water, and this ceremony is called Abhishek. In this verse, it has been especially mentioned that the tears which flowed down from the eyes of Suniti are all auspicious. This auspiciousness of Abhishek ceremony performed by his beloved mother was an indication that in that very near future, Dhruv Maharaj would be installed on the throne of his father. The history of Dhruv Maharaj's living home was that his father refused to give him a place on his lap. And Dhruv Maharaj determined that unless he gets the throne of his father, he would not come back. Now, this Abhishek ceremony performed by his beloved mother was an indication that he would occupy the throne of Maharaj Uttanapada. As you know, people want success stories. But instead of taking mundane success stories, they should take success stories from the scriptures. What happens? This will change our heart also. Because after success, people they are not there is change in heart. So it is also significant in this verse as Suniti, mother of Dhruva, is described as Veerasu, a mother who produced a great hero. There are many heroes in the world, but there is no comparison to Dhruv Maharaj. That means the success stories, who was not only heroic emperor of this world, but also a great devotee. A devotee is also a great hero because he conquers the influence of Maya. So the success story is what? This is what is success story. How can you overcome the influence of Maya? So our heroes are all the Goswamis. Like I was doing one podcast yesterday. So the anchor was telling, he said, can you have some contacts of somebody who can come and do? I said, yeah, I have some devotees who can do. So he was telling, I asked, what all you want? He said, I want success stories. This is actually success story. That our success people are who conquered Maya. They are the success stories, not the mundane success stories. Because mundane success stories will not bring anything good. That only increases false ego most of the times. Some are humble people, but most of the time. And what happens is in the end, these people they get affected but when it comes to win relation with Krishna, it is safe. When Lord Chaitanya inquired from Ramandara to the most famous man in this world, later replied that anyone who is known as a great devotee of Lord is to be accepted the most famous person. So this is real success stories. What is that? To conquer Maya. So that is the real success story. If we are reading people inspirational books, then that is not right. We should hear the stories of our Goswamis. The residents of the place praised the queen. Dear queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago, and it is your great fortune that he now has come back. It appears, therefore, that your son will be able to protect you from for a very long time and will put an end to all your material pangs. So, such a proud moment for a mother. If she's getting a son who is so glorious, he is going to protect her from the cycle of birth and death. That is the great. Dear Queen, you must have worshipped the Supreme Lord who delivers his devotees from great dangers. Persons who constantly meditate upon him surpasses the course of birth and death. This perfection is very difficult to achieve. Actually, this is also one reason. She herself worshipped the Supreme Lord. That is also why she went back home, back to got it. Persons who constantly meditate upon him surpass its course of birth and death. For us, we cannot meditate on the Supreme Lord constantly now. So what we do, we meditate on the pastimes and such Bhagavatam and all. So that meditation is like now to discuss on this Bhagavatam for 1 hour, 2 hours is easy for us than to just sit and meditate on the Lord. we will get, we will feel sleepy or our mind get distracted. To discuss on the pastimes, this is actually easy meditation. Dhruva Maharaj was the last child of Queen Sundati, but during his absence, she always meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is able to rescue his devotees from all danger. So, 6 months, she also did the same thing. She also meditated on the Lord. While Dhruva was absent from the home, not only did she undergo severe austerities in the forest of Manu, but at home, his mother prayed to the Supreme Lord for his safety and good fortune. In other words, the Lord was worshipped by both mother and son, and both were able to achieve the supreme benediction from the Supreme Lord. So both worshipped the Supreme Lord. Mother at home, so both were able to meditate. The word Sudurjayam, an adjective which indicates that no one can conquer death, is very significant. When Dhruv Maharaj was away from his home, his father thought that he was dead. Ordinarily, a king's son, only 5 years old and away from home in the forest, would certainly be supposed dead. But by the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only was he saved, but he was blessed with the highest perfection. So, the sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, when everyone was thus praising Dhruva Maharaj, the king was very happy, and he had Dhruva and his brother seated on the back of a she elephant. Thus he returned to his capital, where he was praised by all classes of men." So he got a elephant procession, elephant ride. The whole city was decorated with columns of banana trees containing branches of fruits and flowers, betel nuts, trees with leaves and branches were seen here and there. There were also many gates set up there with which were structured to give the appearance of sharp. So this is actually a very auspicious decoration. Prabhupada says auspicious ceremonies with decoration of green leaves of palms, coconut trees, betel nut trees, and banana trees, and fruits, flowers, and leaves are an old age custom in India. To receive his great son Dhruv Maharaj, King Uttanapada arranged a good reception, and all the citizens enthusiastically took part with great jubilation. So, such a nice festival. At each and every gate, there were burning lamps and big water pots decorated with differently colored clothes, strings of pearls, flower garlands, and hanging mango leaves. In the capital city, where there were many city gates and surrounding walls, which were all decorated with golden ornaments. The domes of the city palace glittered, as did the domes of the beautiful aeroplanes which hovered over city. And Prabhupada regarding the mention of aeroplanes here, it is suggested by Srimad Vijayadwaja Tirtha that on this occasion, the demigods from higher planetary systems also came in their aeroplanes to bestow their blessings on Dhruv Maharaj on his arrival at the capital of his father. It also appears that all the domes of the city palace were well as a pinnacle of aeroplanes were decorated ornaments were in gold. So this is a nice thing. That time there were aeroplanes. And Vijay Tirtha, Prabhupada is referring to his commentary. He is one of the acharyas in Madhva Sampradaya. What happens is Vijay Tirtha's story is very interesting. He was a sannyasi, and sannyasis are not supposed to cook. So one time he was going, and for many days he couldn't get any food only. So what he did in the forest, he sat and he took some spinach and he started cooking it. and one more person was going on the path. He saw him. He said, "What a degradation! Sannyasi is cooking and eating. Such a sense gratifier. This is a complete no, degradation of the culture only." And then when he heard this, he felt so bad, so sad. He said, "What should I do?" He said, "Better you commit suicide." And then he was contemplating how to commit suicide. That time, I forgot the other Acharya from Madhu Sampradaya. He comes, he goes, he says, "What happened? Why are you lamenting?" He said, "I'm contemplating how to commit suicide. I did this mistake." He said, "No, what you do, you can overcome this sin by writing commentary on Bhagavatam." Then he started writing commentary on Bhagavatam. He wrote such a wonderful commentary, and Prabhupada is also referring to it. And so this is uh, Vijay Dvajatirtha's commentary is very famous. Madhvacharya wrote commentary on Bhagavatam, but he just wrote on few important verses. But this was nice. And it also appeared that all the domes of the city palace as well as the pinnacles of the aeroplanes were decorated with ornaments working in gold and being reflected by the sunshine. They were all glittering. We can observe a specific distinction between Dhruv Maharaj's time and modern times. For the aeroplanes in those days were made of gold, whereas at the present moment, aeroplanes are made of base aluminium. This just gives a hint of opulence of Dhruv Maharaj's days and the poverty of modern times. Prabhupada makes all the quadrangular lanes and streets in the city and the raised sitting places at the crossings were thoroughly cleansed and sprinkled with sandalwood water and auspicious grains such as rice and barley and flowers, fruits, and many other auspicious presentations were scattered all over the city. And thus, as Dhruva Maharaj passed on the roads from every palace in the neighborhood, all the gentle holder ladies assembled to see him, and out of maternal affection, they offered their blessings, showering him with white mustard, seeds, barley, yogurt, water, newly grown grass, fruits, and flowers. In this way, Dhruva Maharaj, while hearing the pleasing songs sung by the ladies, entered the palace of his father. Oh, everybody blessed him. Actually, they'll get blessings by blessing a great Vaishnava. Dhruv Maharaj therefore lived in his father's palace, which was bedaubed with highly valuable jewels. His affectionate father took particular care of him, and he dwelled in that house just as demigods live in their palaces in the higher planetary system. So after that, he got special treatments. And here, interesting thing is that they are so opulent, they are so rich, and still there are problems. This is interesting part. So there is material world is like that only. The bedding in the palace was as white as foam of milk and was very soft. The bed sheets were made of ivory with embellishments of gold, and the chairs, benches, and other sitting places and furniture were made of gold. I was thinking Parikshit Maharaj had only a few days to live. Sukadeva Goswami is explaining all the details of palace of Dhruva Maharaj. The palace of the king was surrounded by walls made of marble with many engraving made of valuable jewels like the sapphires, which depicted beautiful women with shining lamps, jewel lamps in their hands. And so this is actually for all of us to know what is happening there. For Parikshit Maharaj, he don't need all these things. He knows what is there. So maybe some of the things for us also. The palace of king was surrounded by wall. Yeah, the description of King Uttanapada's palace depicts the state of affairs many hundreds and thousands of years ago, long before Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled. Since it is described that Maharaj Dhruva ruled for 36,000 years, he must have lived in Satyuga. So when people lived for 100,000 years, the life duration of the four yugas are also mentioned in the Vedic literature. In Satyuga, people used to live for 100,000 years. In Treta Yuga, lived for 10,000 years. Dwapara Yuga, 1,000 years. In Kali Yuga, people may live up to 100 years. With the progressive advance of every new age, the duration of human life is reduced by 90%. From 100 years to 10,000 years to from 10,000 years to 1,000 and from 1,000 to 100. It is said that Dhruv Maharaj was great grandson of Lord Brahma. This indicates that Dhruv Maharaj's time was Satyuga in the beginning of creation. During one day of Brahma, so Prabhupada is giving all these calculations. And Prabhupada says that the palace of Dhruva's father is so glorious that we cannot accept that advanced human civilization did not exist even 40 or 50,000 years ago. There are walls like those in the places of Maharaj Uttanapada. Even very recently during Mughal period, anyone who had seen the Red Fort in Delhi must have marked that the walls were made of marbles and were once decorated with jewels. During the British period, all the jewels were taken away and dispatched to British Museum. The conception of worldly opulence was formerly based mainly on natural resources such as jewels, marble, silk, ivory, gold, and silver. The advancement of economic development was not based on big motor cars. Advancement of human civilization depend not on industrial enterprises but on the possession of natural wealth and natural food, which is all supplied by the Supreme Lord, which is not available now. We don't get anything sattvic only because all are very much manipulated. It's all violent food. That's why our consciousness for us to meditate on Supreme Lord becomes very difficult. You may think I am taking sattvic. There is no sattvic food only now. No matter whatever we do, so much violence. Everything is violent. Another aspect of this verse is that Dhruva Maharaj's father, Uttanapada, was very soon give up attachment for his palace and would go to the forest for self-realization. This is the most important thing. Even though he had a son who is a great devotee, his palace is all the things. But Uttanapada would very soon give up attachment for his palace and would go to the forest for self-realization. From the description of Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, we can make a very thorough comparative study of modern civilization of mankind in other millenniums, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. This is the most important thing, that what you do after you have all these things, you renounce and go. The king's residence is surrounded by gardens, wherein there are varieties of trees brought from heavenly planets. In those trees, there were pairs of sweetly singing birds and almost mad bumblebees, which are very relishable buzzing sound. In this verse, the word Amara Dumahi with trees brought from heavenly planets very significant. The heavenly planets are known as Amaraloka, the planets where death is very much delayed. Because the people there live for 10,000 years according to the calculation of demigods, in which our 6 months are equal to one day. The demigods live in the heavenly planets for months, years, and 10,000 years according to demigods' time. And then again, after results of their pious activities are exhausted, they fall down to the earth. These are the statements that can be collected from Vedic literature. As the people as the people there live for 10,000 years, so also do the trees. Of course, here on the earth also there are many trees which live for 10,000 years. So what to speak of trees on the heavenly planets? They must live for more than 10,000 years, and sometimes, as practiced, even now, some valuable trees are taken from one place to another. It is elsewhere stated that Lord Krishna went to heaven and for his wife he took Parijata tree. There was a fight between Krishna and demigods. So, and then there are, so all these things are there, but Uttanpada is going to live and Drumara is also going to live there. There are emerald staircases which led to lakes full of variously colored lotus flowers and lilies and swans. Karandavas, Chakravakas, cranes, and similar other valuable birds are visible in these slopes. It appears that not only was the palace surrounded by compounds and gardens with varieties of trees, but there were small man-made lakes also, where the waters was full of many colorful lotus flowers and lilies, and to get down to the lakes there was staircase made of valuable jewels such as emeralds. By the beautifully positioned garden house, there were many luxuriant birds such as swans, chakarakas, karandokas, and cranes. These birds generally do not live in filthy places like crows do. The atmosphere of the city was very healthy and beautiful. It can simply be imagined from its description. What happens is, if such situation is there, we may feel how it is great attachment. But interestingly, they will not get attached because they understand the connection. So that is the important thing. Even though we may have these things, if I know, say for example, we are going to a different big city and then we are given accommodation in a very big luxurious hotel. There may be some gardens, there will be some lakes and other things, some farmhouse. When we are staying that place and having all the facilities like that, still back of the mind, we all know that it is a place for some time. I had to leave it. I had to leave the place and go. But we can still have the facilities and we can sit nicely under the sun and the garden and do all the things whatever we want. But consciousness is still there that it is a place I have to live, right? So similarly, it should be there for all the time for us. Now at home also we should know this is a place I have to stay for some time and live. So it does not reduce the enjoyment. It makes us more, no, more safe. If we are attached and enjoy, that is the danger. We should enjoy without attachment. That is a very valuable thing. For that, we have to do sadhana nicely and we can stay in the situations. We can have all the facilities. The risk is that we don't, once we get facilities, we may get attached to facilities. That is the risk. But we should not, we should be careful with these things. And there are the, yeah, the saintly King Uttanapada, hearing the glorious deeds of Dhruva Maharaj and personally seeing how influential and great he was, felt very satisfied. For Dhruva's activities were wonderful to the supreme degree. When Dhruva Maharaj in the forest executing his austerities, his father Uttanapada heard everything about his very wonderful activities. Although Dhruva Maharaj was son of the king and only 5 years old, he went to the forest and executed devotional service under strict austerities. Therefore, his acts are all wonderful. And when he came back home, naturally, because of his spiritual qualification, he became very popular among the citizens. He must have performed many wonderful activities by the grace of the Lord. No one is more satisfied than the father of a person who is credited with glorious activities. Maharaj Uttanapada was not an ordinary king. He was Rajarishi, a saintly king. Formerly, these were ruled by one saintly king only. Kings were trained to become saintly, therefore, they had no other concern than the welfare of the citizens. These saintly kings were properly trained, and as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, the science of God or the yoga system of devotional service known as Bhagavad Gita was spoken to the saintly kings of the sun planet and gradually descended to the Kshatriya kings who are generated from the sun and the moon. If the head of the government is saintly, certainly the citizens become saintly and they are very happy because both of their spiritual and physical needs are anchorings are satisfied. When after coronation, King Uttanapada saw that Dhruva Maharaj was situated suitably mature to take charge of the kingdom and that his ministers were agreeable and the citizens were also very fond of him, he enthroned Dhruva as emperor of this planet. So, Prabhupada, although it is misconceived that formerly the monarchical government was autocratic. From the description of this verse, it appears that not only was King Uttanapada a Rajrishi, but after installing his beloved son, Dhruva on the throne of the emperor of the world, he consulted his ministerial officers, considering the opinion of the public, and also personally examined Dhruva's character. Then the king installed him on the throne to take charge of the affairs of the world. When a Vaishnava king like Dhruva Maharaj is the head of the government of the entire world, the whole world is so happy that it is not possible to imagine or describe. Even now, if people would all become Krishna conscious, the democratic government of the present day would be exactly like the kingdom of heaven. If all people become Krishna conscious, they would vote for persons of the category of Dhruva Maharaj. If the post of a chief executive were occupied by such a Vaishnava, all the problems of satanic government would be solved. The youthful generation of the present day is very enthusiastic in trying to overthrow the government in different parts of the world. But unless people are Krishna conscious like Dhruva Maharaj, there will be no appreciable changes in government because people who hanker to attain political position by hook or by crook cannot think of the welfare of people. They are only busy to keep their positions of prestige and monarch monetary gains. Very little to think. And we can see also now how the world, all these wars and all, this is the main reason. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttanapad detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. So this is the very great example. If we have a little garden, small house, we may be attached. King Uttanapada, he had whole kingdom at his disposal, but he left. This is the sign of a Rajarishi. King Uttanapada was very opulent and was emperor of the world. And these attachments are certainly very great. Modern politicians are not as great as kings like Maharaj Uttanapada, but because they get some political power for some days, they become so much attached to their position that they never retire unless they are removed from their post by cruel death or killed by some opposing political parties. It is within our experience that the politicians in India do not quit their positions until death. Prabhupada is very clear. This was not the practice in olden days, as it is evident from the behavior of King Uttanapada. Immediately after installing his old birthday son, Dhruva Maharaj, on the throne, he left his home and palace. There are hundreds and thousands of instances like this in which kings in their mature age would give up their kingdoms and go to the forest to practice austerities. Practice of austerity is the main business of human life. As Dhruva Maharaj practiced austerity in his earlier age, his father Maharaj Uttanapada in his old age also practiced austerity in the forest. In modern days, however, it is not possible to give up one's home and go to the forest to practice austerity. But if people of all ages would take shelter of Krishna conscious movement and practice the simple austerities of no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating, and chant Hare Krishna regularly 16 rounds. By this practical method, it would be very easy task to get salvation from this material world. Thus, in the Bhaktivinoda Purport 4th Canto 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhrumaras returns home. Actually, we have to go a little slow. We cannot do it. Because Krishna Chakra Thakur's don't have big commentaries don't have big purport. So Balaram Shakti is completing one chapter in a day. We are in just completed 9th, he completed 15. So we will not rush. We will try to go slowly only. We may not be able to catch up. Till now we were there, but it may not be possible. So any questions, comments? Okay. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.